There's an SUV that turns the unthinkable into the unforgettable. The new Nissan Pathfinder, built for big adventures and all that family chaos. It's powered by a strong V6 engine with a 9-speed automatic transmission. Inside, it's rugged and capable, but still premium and tech-forward, with room for up to 8 passengers. It's also available with 7-passenger seating and second-row captain's chairs. With massive hauling capability, now you can bring all the gear you and your family need for unforgettable adventures. The new V6 Nissan Pathfinder. Power your adventure.
Quick, choose a meal deal with McValue. The $5 McChicken meal deal, the $6 McDouble meal deal, or the new $7 Daily Double meal deal. Each with its own small fries, drink, and 4-piece McNuggets. There's actually no rush. I'm just excited for McDonald's. For a limited time only, prices and participation may vary. Not valid for McDelivery.
Hello and a happy President's Day weekend to those of you who are lucky enough to have today off. It is Monday, February 16th, 2026. Spring training is underway. Clubs have reported. The pop of the mitt, the smell of the grass, all of that, et cetera, et cetera. It's underway. It's happening. Guys are working out. Teams are getting together. Light PFPs are happening. We're far from the most rigorous part of things, but that's okay because we're still clicking. And so far, no serious injuries. We'll just wait and see about that part. But for the rest of it, it's all going according to plan. That plan apparently includes continuing to stoke the coals of Dave Dombrowski's offseason comments about Bryce Harper, which is now carrying things over into the realm of, pardon the interruption, having a take on this. I don't know where any of this is going. Doesn't really matter. We're going to try and figure out exactly what's going on here with Bryce Harper, with Andrew Painter, with all things early days here in spring training, at least as much as there is a conclusion to draw from any of this. So let me quickly just cut to things and bring in my co-host. He is, of course, the Phillies beat writer for The Athletic. He is down in Florida. He's gathering all this information and listening to me as I take in the segment on Pardon the Interruption that featured thoughts about trading Bryce Harper before opening day. I will not delve into that further. Matt, hello. Good evening. Happy end of the President's Day weekend. Not that that means anything to you. How has the first weekend gone down there at camp?
Do you want to know the terrifying truth, or do you want to see me sock some dingers? No, I mean, I feel like it's all been about, Phillies camp has been very drama filled so far, and whether you think the drama is legitimate or not. I mean, I think there's plenty of people who have opinions on Bryce Harper, and this comes into days after the whole Nick Castellanos divorce, and so yes, there's been a little more focus on things outside of baseball, I guess, than actual baseball and Phillies game. And I do want to talk about some of the actual baseball that I've been watching for the better part of a week down here. But the Harper stuff, not surprised that he said what he said. I mean, it sounds very similar to what he said to me in, I don't even know what the date was. This is sometime in October when we talked on the phone, and maybe I thought he'd be a little less upset, but I think he's also trying to prove a point. And I do think it's very funny that he keeps saying that he's not motivated by this, and this whole thing doesn't really matter to him, although it's very clear that it matters to him, and it just feels like it feels like maybe all of this will end up motivating him.
I guess. I hope so.
My I'm not motivated, not elite t-shirt is drawing a lot of questions.
It's just, yeah, right. Posting a TikTok with a shirt that says not elite on it and then coming in with the reason for that being, as I read this from Charlotte Barnes' story yesterday, I mean, they made the shirts for me and I wore them. Doesn't say who they is. If they're going to make them, I'm going to wear them. You don't have to do that, dude.
Look, like, who doesn't love a free t-shirt?
Yo, merch, swag. It's so dumb, man. I mean,
It's not dumb. It's not dumb in a way that like I think there is relevancy to some of this, but to your point about what you were watching before we started taping this is that I would be surprised if Bryce Harper is traded before spring training is over. I would be surprised if Bryce Harper ever plays for another team in the rest of his career. I'm serious. I would be.
Sure. That's my expectation. Yeah, I mean, it's been one bumpy off season, but come on.
I think some of this has been a little exaggerated. I think that also, though, like I do think that there are some interesting interpersonal dynamics happening between Harper and Dombrowski and Harper and everybody. So I think what remains true is that it's funny that this gets lost in all like the sound bites you see on social media is that Bryce Harper is like fully acknowledging. He's like, I didn't have a season that I thought was good. I thought I could be better. I know it didn't meet my expectations. And I think that some of Dave Dombrowski's criticism, and I even hesitate to call it criticism. I think it was criticism, but it wasn't the most caustic critique of a player I've ever heard from an executive. Some of it was valid. And I think all these questions about Bryce Harper are valid. And I think he's even acknowledged that they're valid. So all of that said, I think, again, I said this before, I think the WC is going to be really good for him. And you could tell he's excited about it. And he's saying, I don't need to be invigorated again. I'm happy. You know, I love playing this game. You might not see me smile all the time. I'm paraphrasing Bryce right now. But,
right.
You know, I believe him mostly. I don't know that I believe all of what he said. But I do think that this I do know this. I know that he doesn't love spring training. He's typically bored by spring training, and who isn't? But I think this is going to be a good change of pace for him. And I think when he goes to WC and starts, you know, maybe has a couple of big moments, I think a lot of the stuff that we're talking about or thinking about, maybe the conversation about Bryce Harper, I think will change and will go away.
This is just this particular brand of things is just the kind of stuff that doesn't really interest me so much. Just like on a personal level, I find nothing.
Bryce is the ultimate drama queen.
I find nothing compelling about this. I know it circles around a really important part of the Phillies roster. I get that. And that inherently makes it interesting and makes it newsworthy that there is this slap fight, I guess, going back and forth between he and Dombrowski.
That's a good way of putting it.
This months-long thing. And like, okay, I can understand a little bit of attention paid to it. It does nothing for me. I know that Bryce isn't going anywhere. Certainly not this year. I get from a well-removed standpoint, somebody who is, you know, just kind of looking at all of the sports in a cursory nature, because that's the nature of their job, is they have to pay attention to everything and thus cannot dive deep into any one single thing, you know, for too long. That maybe you see, a little bit of friction here and they want to ship this guy out. That's just not what's happening here. Not what's happening here. And while it's, to me, silly and eye-rolly to hear this carry on and reach mid-February as camp opens, like I would prefer to just leave it in the background, but whatever. It's
Harper
just something that needs
to. So,
I mean, it's just something that needs to be proven out. Yeah, it's just something that needs to be proven out. Let's see how motivated he is. Let's see what the WBC looks like. Let's see what the start of the season looks like, and then just kind of take it from there. I don't really want to talk about it anymore, so I hope it doesn't come up much more. I hope this is kind of the end of it and that there aren't any more exchanges like this. I guess there always could be. I don't know. You're right to the point, though, that it is, and we've touched on this before, that it is a relevant question to ask if Bryce Harper is quote unquote elite still, because this is the time in a baseball player's career where that starts to slip away. You know, you get into your mid-30s, this is where it starts to happen for a lot of guys. And having a productive Bryce Harper is going to be very important for this team for the next couple of years. Yeah, they brought Kyle Schwarber back. Yeah, there's a little bit of hope that some of the young guys can supplement things a little bit. None of them clearly has the potential that Bryce Harper currently possesses, even in his mid-30s form. That's not where these guys are. That's not where things stand. So to have a productive Bryce Harper, even if he's not quote unquote, I'm going to be using this word so often and I hate it already, elite. Okay, as long as if he puts up what he did last year, that's fine. That's fine to me. I'm sorry that it's caused this big deal between the two of them, and that
You should be
it's,
sorry.
yeah, right. I do kind of feel responsible for fanning the flames a little bit, such as I am. But like, is that ridiculous to me to think that 2025, if that's the standard for Harper moving forward, that's fine and I should be okay with that? They'll need to do work around the edges of
100%.
the roster, but like, I feel fine with that.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think you'd like to see. I think the one area where it would feel different again. I'm not saying that we forget this, but I mean, he did miss 6 weeks almost, with a wrist injury. So like you can't assume he's going to play 160, every year going forward. But you say, well, instead of missing 6 weeks, you'd rather him miss 3 weeks every year, right? With whatever nagging injury he has. And I
Sure.
did think one of the more notable things he said is that, and he really didn't. He didn't say this as definitively as he did the other day. He didn't say it at all last spring definitively, or last season definitively, but he said, I haven't had any wrist pain in my wrist since Pittsburgh, which is when last year when he went on the injured list that they were in Pittsburgh in early June. I thought that was notable.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, like the numbers will look a little different, would have looked a little different last year had he played in 150 games instead of 132 games. But would you take 2025 Bryce Harper for the next 4 years? Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think that's an unequivocal yes.
And so while we continue to wait out, and we'll need to wait out for another month and a half, the real Bryce Harper, if you skip past the WBC, that's all well and good. We can turn our attention toward another name that has been bandied about these parts and every part around
baseball. Let's talk about real baseball. We talked about Nick Castellanos all last episode. We talked about Bryce Harper here.
Yes. We have, again, and this is a deja vu from 3 years ago. I can just feel it swirling a little bit here. We have the imminent arrival of, yes, Andrew Painter. He is now 22. He is the presumed favorite, the clubhouse leader to break camp with the team at the back end of its rotation. He is still a heralded prospect, maybe not quite to the level that he was 2-3 years ago, but still a guy who looks to be capable of producing at the major league level. He is healthy. He is coming off finishing his first post-surgery year healthy last year, even though the numbers weren't great. We've been through all of this. What's important, I think, is we've had a chance now, me at least, I've had a chance to read your writing on Painter's discussion of what went into last year, and along with a couple other coaches around it. We actually get him on the record. He's talking here in camp. I know the team has been guarded about letting him talk over the last couple of camps, just as he recovers for, their own reasons. But to hear him to read him actually talk about what it was like to go through last year, to just kind of work through the struggles, just to pitch through, to not overcomplicate things. You have it, toward the end of your story, and a nice quote on that. Just to take one thing at a time and worry about staying healthy, looking ahead to this spring training in particular. Matt, it seems just by reading, and you can only infer so much. I know you were the one who actually heard him say some of these things and have watched him out on the field so far. It seems like he might be carrying himself a bit differently coming into this spring, that the further he gets removed from this injury, the better he feels, hopefully, both literally and figuratively. Do you get the sense that Andrew Painter is somebody who seems like he's ready to meet this moment and carry himself through major league camp with his eyes on winning this rotation spot?
I mean, yes, I think there are differences from this time last year, though, Paul. Is that like last year, this time, if you'll recall, he was in big league camp, but he was not a participant. Mm-hmm. He was healthy, remember, but they had basically said, your season is starting later, and we're going to slow play this because we have to manage your innings. And even he now is like, he looks back on it, he's like, and he understands why they were doing it. I mean, obviously they were trying to keep him in play, for the majors possibly in September and maybe even October last year. And that just obviously did not work out. But he almost felt like, I think, an imposter last spring because he was there with everybody, but he really wasn't. He wasn't with the group because he wasn't allowed to do certain things. And now there are no restrictions on him this spring. He is one of the guys. And even in passing, Jesus Luzardo mentioned something to me about that. And Luzardo and Painter have become pretty close. And Luzardo can just see like a difference in this guy just because he feels like he belongs more, even though he hasn't pitched in the majors yet. Let's be clear. But certainly, Paul, there's been a lot of ink spilled and tweets written and thoughts composed about Painter's 2025 season. And I tried to focus on one very specific thing, and that is the arm slot, the dropping arm slot. And in talking to people this offseason, that was something that really, I think, they had identified as possibly, the root cause for whatever happened to his fastball. Because the fastball just did not play last year like it had played before. And the fastball before is why Andrew Painter was a big reason why he was considered such an elite pitching prospect. And it wasn't just the velocity, it was just that it had ride, it had the characteristics of fastballs that had been really successful in the major leagues, and add that onto the fact that he has such a good feel for spinning the ball, for his secondary pitches. And you're like, okay, this is what it looks like. He's 6'7", he throws in high 90s. He's got this ride and the spin on his fastball. He's got fuel for other secondaries. This is what it looks like, right? And of course, last year it did not look like that. And the data backs us up about the arm slot specifically affecting the fastball the most. And his fastball got crushed at AAA last year, especially by lefties. And he really had no answers for a while against left-handed hitters, and they were crushing him. And I do think it was interesting to hear him talk through some of this. And I think naturally the question, right, that I had was like, well, why didn't they try to fix this during the season last year? I mean, because I think that, there's data and you get information and pieces of data from every start, from every pitch the guy throws, even at AAA, of course. They're measuring everything. And I asked this question to Caleb Cotham, who's the Phillies pitching coach. And of course, he's not directly in charge of Painter last year because Painter is a minor league player. But if, Cotham was very invested in Painter, was following what was happening and was checking in with people who were overseeing Painter. And I think Caleb's thing was, one, we were not totally sure that the arm angle was was the root of all that was wrong with the fastball. Two, not exactly the easiest change to make in season. It's a pretty drastic mechanical change. And we're only talking about a couple inches, I think, in terms of it, of his arm, the release point dropping. And three, and people are not going to like this answer, I think that they reached a point with Painter where he wasn't, it wasn't so bad that they couldn't pitch him, but that they wanted him to they got to a point where like, okay, he's not going to be, one, we don't necessarily need him in the majors, and two, he's not ready for the majors. So they wanted him to fight through it. And Painter called it survival in my story. And I thought that was like just such a mature way of looking at it. And if you talk to any big league starter, any successful big league starter, like survival is like such an important trait to have as a major league starter, because there are so many times during a season, if you're making 32 starts, that you do not have your best stuff. You do not have that pitch or this pitch, or the lineup is stacked with lefties, and all of a sudden you're trying to survive certain pockets of the opposition's lineup. Like, survival is a trait that every good, great major league starting pitcher needs. And it feels like Painter came away from last year with that. And now that they've had the offseason to make the proper adjustments, specifically the arm slot, it does look different. I've watched him a couple times throw now, and it's hard for me to, it's hard to take the side-by-side videos, but when he does pitch in his first spring game, I do think you'll be able to take a video and say, wow, okay, this does look different. It's mid-February, so I think there's going to be optimism with Andrew Painter, but everything I'm hearing and seeing is trending in the right direction for him right now.
Quick, choose a meal deal with McValue. The $5 McChicken meal deal, the $5 McDouble meal deal, or the new $6 Daily Double meal deal. Each with its own small fries, drink, and 4-piece McNuggets. There's actually no rush. I'm just excited for McDonald's. For a limited time only, prices and participation may vary. Not valid for McDelivery.
Nobody does selling better than Shopify. Shopify is the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret, with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts go abandoned and way more sales going through. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. On the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout that Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period for 3 months at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
The new LinkedIn Hiring Pro can't clone you, but it can streamline your hiring workflow. From posting jobs to shortlisting candidates to interviewing, LinkedIn Hiring Pro is the hiring partner you need, so you can focus on connecting with the right talent. In fact, small businesses report saving over 6 hours per week. So hire right the first time with LinkedIn Hiring Pro. Post your first job today and get $100 off at linkedin.com/Pandora offer. Terms and conditions apply.
There's an SUV that turns the unthinkable into the unforgettable. The new Nissan Pathfinder, built for big adventures and all that family chaos. It's powered by a strong V6 engine with a 9-speed automatic transmission. Inside, it's rugged and capable, but still premium and tech-forward, with room for up to 8 passengers. It's also available with 7-passenger seating and second-row captain's chairs. With massive hauling capability, now you can bring all the gear you and your family need for unforgettable adventures. The new V6 Nissan Pathfinder. Power your adventure.
And that's about all you can ask for. You know, you say, yeah, it's mid-February, and it is. But you want guys to just come in at that top level of like feeling good about where they're at, feeling good about their stuff when they're playing long toss. For Painter, even playing long toss, period, as you mentioned in the story. I think I can understand why people might not love the idea of just kind of letting a guy fight through it. You know, that survival thing that we're talking about, just try and manage your way through it with what you've got and not try and do anything too drastic. You know, if you deem it to be too significant of a change to make midseason, all right, I kind of get that. I do think the overarching point about facing adversity is spot on, though. And it's not a bad thing to
I mean, you would have preferred him to have a good year last year. Like, of course. I mean, I think this is all, everybody's trying to handle this with grace. Like, you're trying to say, oh, you know, he wasn't that, you know, it was his first full year back from Tommy John. Oh, you know, it was good for him to face some adversity. I mean, it's like, no, I mean, like, you would have loved for him to just rocket to the majors and been really good last year, of course. So, yes, you're trying to take silver linings out of it.
Yeah, it's absolutely a silver lining situation. You're right. Because, yes, the Cole Hamels method is is the way I would love to see every pitching prospect go. But if this is the way it's going to happen, all right, cool. If they're looking at it as a positive, if they are taking it as, you know, reinforcing the armor to further get him prepared for what he's going to face at the top level against the best hitters in the world, okay, I can buy into that. I can ride with that.
I mean, it has to work. Like they don't have a lot of other options right now, and like they need this guy. And I'm not saying they need this guy to all of a sudden come up and be, you know, an ace, because I don't think he's going to be.
I don't either. No,
they need him to be a solid for this season, a solid back of the rotation pitcher, and if that is the bar, I think it's realistic. Like I don't think that's a crazy ask. Do you?
No, and
like, they can get 25 starts of a solid back of the rotation major league pitcher, maybe slightly above average.
Sure.
Is that a reasonable outcome for Andrew Painter as a rookie?
For me, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think the only problem may be, and this is not insignificant. It's not the end all be all, clearly. But I think the problem that could arise is the fans who are on, you know, maybe a little bit less of a level than you and I and some of us, you know, around this depth of Phillies fandom could be, is they've heard the name Andrew Painter. That part has been surfaced for years and years. And if Andrew Painter comes up and throws a mid to high 4s ERA, they're not going to look at that as good. And there's going to be, more buzz and talk about like, what is this guy? Like, why didn't we trade him for something? Blah, 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 blah. And while that doesn't dictate how the franchise is going to move, it adds to things. It's an ingredient in the mix. You'd hope that as much as you cannot say, yeah, we don't think he's going to be very good in the major leagues this year, which, would be what a high 4s or whatever ERA may indicate. You also have the lowered expectations for this first year, where I think it is a success if you can get 25 plus starts, even if they don't take the form of a quote unquote top pitching prospect debuting. You know what I mean? There's this sort of gray
I think you're
area.
lowering the bar probably a little too much. Do you know what the major league? What do you have a guess at what the league average ERA for starters in the majors was last year?
Oh, it was probably pretty low, right? Because offense is pretty crap. It was probably like 3.7,
4.21.
4.21. So I actually undercut it. So I swung
that was
back
league
to
average for major league starters last year.
That's interesting because I thought offense was down bad or down worse than that. So I mean, there you go. So if it's a 4.25 ERA. And Andrew Painter comes in with a mid 4s or a 4.6 or 4.7. That's far from terrible. It's below league average, but it's fine. I think it's fine if he gets through the year healthy.
I would put a little higher expectation than that. I think he can be league average. I think he can be league average.
Yeah. Do you think I'm being a little bit too guarded in my expectations?
Probably.
Then? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like, I don't know what I think this is. Part of the allure of this season is that there are certain things that we don't know. I mean, so much of this team, and I've been thinking about this idea of baggage, right? And so many of the guys on this roster come into this season with a lot of baggage. Some of it good, some of it bad. But I think that the baggage is why so many people are just kind of like about this team.
That's interesting.
And like. I would use like Jose Alvarado as a prime example of a guy who's carrying a lot of baggage into this season, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's a guy who, and it goes beyond the suspension baggage. It's this guy. It's like, well, we've seen him be great, but man, he could lose the strike zone, and you don't know when it's going to happen. And also, he was suspended, and it's like, what kind of guy are we going to get? And it's like, also, it's like, I don't know. I mean, like he, like he just turned 30. He's one of the harder throwing lefties in the sport. Like, he might be really good. I mean, like it's I just feel like there's so many guys who are like that. It's like Trey Turner. It's like, well, he just won the batting title and he had a great year at shortstop, but like before that, he wasn't a great shortstop. And it's like, what kind of Trey Turner are you going to get? And the same thing we were just talking about Bryce Harper. It's like all these guys, there's just so much baggage with these guys. And I think that's why like Painter, who certainly has his own baggage last year in the minors, the perfect example of that, he has less baggage. And I think that's why there's this sort of excitement about guys like him and Crawford and Miller. And naturally, you get excited about younger players because you don't know what they are yet. But I would challenge people to maybe separate, the baggage for these other players and say, certainly acknowledge it. You can't tell the story of the 2026 Phillies without acknowledging the baggage, and the biggest pieces of baggage being, their failures in October of the last few years. But you can also say, look, like, let's evaluate without the baggage too and see what this is for what it is. And I don't know why that's a tangent, but I've been thinking about that a lot the last few days.
No, it is an interesting way to look at it. And I was trying to think through in my mind, like, what's the way to lighten that load? And I guess it comes back to your theory about, just hit dingers, just win your way through it.
Well, I mean, I think you lighten the load. I mean, it could be as simple as like one of these younger guys being an unexpected contributor, or we know they're going to be contributors having an unexpected level of contribution. Or it could be as simple as, jacked up Adolis Garcia, having a really good 4 months.
So they're so big.
He's a big guy. He is a big guy.
Large.
It's like okay, like what are the odds that he has a season like he did 2 years ago with Rangers? Slim. They're not great. But like, would you be surprised if he had 4 like really good months this year and ends up taking advantage of a better home ballpark, uh, better lineup around him, better situation, period? I wouldn't be.
I do like somebody was digging deep into this about how the change from Globe Life to Citizens Bank Park could be beneficial for him as a right-handed power hitter, because apparently Globe Life was just in the toilet as far as right-handed power park effects were concerned. And
It played
Citizens
way
Bank
bigger,
Park,
I think, than I thought it would. Yeah.
yeah, and then Citizens Bank Park was one of the 10 most favorable, I think. CBP has, ever since they altered the dimension, CBP has not been the quote unquote bandbox, as the infamous descriptor goes, that it was in its early days, but it is still hitter friendly. But I think that could really, if it plays out that way, which, okay, yeah, there's a data point for you, that could be a way to lift him up. I don't think we're, talking about a 360 on base percentage for the guy, but maybe he runs into a few extra. Maybe
I feel like this is gonna. I'm giving away a prop bet. Will Adolis Garcia's on base percentage start with a 3?
I'll save that for
No.
the prop episode. There's only so much we can take away from the first few days of camp, but I think as far as these go, it has been pretty eventful in that way. We have the top pitching prospects talking. We have Bryce Harper carrying over.
Is that eventful? I would describe the first week of camp outside of the Castellanos and Bryce stuff as relatively uneventful. The workouts have been pretty light. They did some live BPs Monday, more than they had done. Monday was the first full squad workout. Hard to say. Everyone's always like, "Oh, who's jumping out? Who's sticking out to you?" And I see some guys, but then I tend to answer these questions by asking people who are smarter than me, asking, front office people who are watching, asking coaches who are watching, asking other players who are watching, like who's jumped out to you. And overwhelmingly, there's been some answers, but most people are just like, it's so hard. Like it's the first week of camp, and it's like, I mean, I don't think anybody. It's not like nobody's jumping out. It's just more like, how do you know? And like certainly. There's a couple things that I think jumped out to me so far. Jonathan Bolin is a guy that I am interested by. I'm intrigued by Jonathan Bolin.
Matt Strom trade return, of course. He's good.
He's interesting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're expecting him to be significant depth in the major league bullpen.
I mean, I think he starts out as a multi-inning middle reliever, with the chance to pitch his way into bigger spots. I will say they're not doing this now, and I don't even know that they've even thought about it. But if they do run thin on starters, he is a guy who could get stretched out if they had to do it.
Okay.
He was a starter until he was a full-time starter until last year with Kansas City. And I don't think they want to mess with it because I think that the returns, the initial returns on him being a full-time reliever were good. Were really good to the point where, he was a guy that they really liked and targeted him in a trade. So I don't know that they would want to mess with that, but I do think that option does exist. I think Bolin is a guy that there are Phillies people are pretty excited about.
Interesting to see that mirror Matt Strom from a couple of years ago, the guy he was traded for.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So that's basically that, right?
I'm going to give a few more. Give me a few more guys. Kyle Backus. He's funky. He's a lefty reliever the Phillies got in a small trade with Arizona, throwing a little harder maybe than he would normally at this time. He's in the low 90s right now. He's probably a guy who, in the past was probably like 1 to 3, like 91 to 93. And maybe they're going to get a little more out of that. He is funk though, right? I mean, like he's a lefty who's thrown sidearm. It's a different look. Would not be surprised if they carry 3 lefties to start the season, and would not be surprised that third lefty, if he has a good spring, is Backus.
Ooh, all right, keep it going. Give me one more.
I mean, like, there's a lot of guys that just like they look different. I mean, like everybody has been, this is not a guy that we need to. I mean, like everybody has been raving about Jesus Luzardo. Just obviously a big year for him. He's a free agent at the end of the year, but I think everyone is just really impressed at the way he's coming to camp and just really, I mean, at this time last year, I think there were, quite a few questions about him. I think there was optimism and you could see the projection and you could see it coming together. And I think now it's just this guy, it just feels like he's taken so many steps forward in his career and is just primed for a huge season. I really do.
Quick, choose a meal deal with McValue. The $5 McChicken meal deal, the $6 McDouble meal deal, or the new $7 Daily Double meal deal. Each with its own small fries, drink, and 4-piece McNuggets. There's actually no rush. I'm just excited for McDonald's. For a limited time only, prices and participation may vary. Not valid for McDelivery.
Nobody does selling better than Shopify. Shopify is the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret, with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts go abandoned and way more sales going through. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. On the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout that Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period for 3 months at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
The secret is out. With millions of younger-looking customers across the country, Plexiderm is one of the most highly sought-after products on the market. It visibly shrinks under eye bags and smooths out crow's feet in minutes, and the effects last up to 10 hours. Influencers love it, magazines feature it, and people just can't get enough of it. As a matter of fact, Elle Magazine gave it an Editor's Choice Award as Best Instant Wrinkle Filler for 2025. In as little as 10 minutes, Plexiderm reduces the appearance of fine lines, wrinkles, and those dreaded under-eye bags. So yes, you can look years younger in minutes, and the effects last for hours. No surgery, no gimmicks, just results. The best news, you can try Plexiderm for only $14.95. Plus, get free shipping. Don't wait. Order Plexiderm today. Visit plexiderm.com/special. That's plexiderm.com/special. Paid for by Sheer Science.
And so would that make it any more or less likely that they try and hash out some sort of contract, or do you think he's going to?
I mean, they're going to try to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they'll try to. I don't think it changes I don't know that it changes the calculus at all, right? I mean, I think if the numbers are in range, if they can find a middle ground, like I think they can get there. They'll certainly try. I don't know if they come to an agreement, but I think they'll try. And I think the other guy that's stuck out so far, and I will write about him at some point this week, and maybe this is cheating, but Aiden Miller just looks he looks grown up. And like that's not to say that he didn't before, but I mean he just looks he looks grown up.
I don't know, man. I didn't look grown up when I was 21. Like, I get it.
I know. Well, he's closer to 22 now, but like, the reference point, I saw him last spring and then I went and saw him at Reading in early August, I want to say late July, early August. I think it was early August. And I was impressed then. And I know he was kind of going through it then. He just looks different. And I can't give you a number to support that in terms of like, weight or strength added or muscle. And I'm always skeptical sometimes of guys, the numbers this player X added, 15 pounds of muscle in the off season. It's just like, probably not, but he looks different. And I see him fitting in really well so far. I mean, I think they are trying to make him feel like more he's part of the group. I think last spring was his first big league camp, and it was sort of this like get a little taste. This is what it's like. This is a different spring for him, and you can just feel that while he will not break camp with the Phillies, and might not even play for them at all in the majors this season, you just get the feeling that it is certainly within the realm of possibility that he is a contributor in the majors this year.
Yes. I love it. I do love mid-February for just this reason.
Yeah, really, really blowing my load here.
Yeah, all right. Well, this is probably the last episode, I think, before games actually kick off next weekend. I don't imagine
Saturday.
Yeah.
Grapefruit League opener in beautiful
In
Dunedin. The defending American League champions begin their spring schedule against the Phillies, and the Pinellas County Cup gets underway.
Yes, of course. The broadcast schedule was released for the team as well, both for radio.
That
and
game
for
will be on
television.
TV because it'll be televised by the Blue Jays. I don't know if you'll be able to watch it in. I guess if you have MLB TV, you'll be able to watch.
You should be able to watch it if you have MLB TV. Yeah,
because that game will definitely be on Sportsnet.
Yeah, and I mean that's the good thing. I know there's a lot of confusion, and I'm still kind of confused about MLB TV's new setup. Apparently, if you're a renewing subscriber, you don't have to do anything. Blah blah blah. Don't take my word for it that everything is okay. Make sure you check into your rebill situation and understand what you're getting, because MLB TV has been rolled up into ESPN. Blah blah blah. Just
interestingly enough, like the Blue Jays have not released their television schedule yet. The Phillies haven't either, although I guess it's online now, and like no one ever announced it. But of course,
it gets out. Yeah,
I guess. I mean, I don't know. That place seems like a mess. The Blue Jays have not. Sportsnet has not announced their television schedule. I'll be really surprised if they're not televising Saturday's game.
All right, so there you go. Worst
the
case,
the Jays are popping. The Jays have got there's a lot of interest in the Jays.
Yeah, I'm gonna see the Phillies and Jays game. What is it? Not this coming weekend, but the weekend after when I'm down there. So I'll be interested to check that out. The first Phillies television broadcast is currently set for the 22nd. So it'll be Sunday. A home game against a split squad of the Pirates. Wonderful kickoff to that. I'm excited, man.
The biggest news so far is that they have little dings and dents here and there. I mean, Zach Wheeler got out to 120 feet for the first time on Monday. He's, I would say getting closer and closer to throwing from a mound. I still think late April, early May is a very reasonable target for him. Kirkering is starting to throw from flat ground. Like I don't think he's that far behind here. Everybody else.
He had a hamstring pull, right, Orion?
Yeah, Gabriel Rincones is definitely behind. Probably won't get into games until later in March. He's got a knee thing. Who else? Michael Mercado and Daniel Robert are both behind with injuries. Mercado a shoulder, Robert with a heart condition, which seems like it's better.
That's good.
One of the catchers, who I cannot pronounce his last name, I'm sorry, Mark K.
Kolishvari.
Yeah, he's coming off ACL surgery. He can't run, but he can catch.
Okay.
That was my reaction too. I was like, he can
right.
squat and catch. That's fine, but he can't run. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Jose Rodriguez, the guy who was suspended for sports betting.
Yeah.
He's in camp. He's banged up.
Okay.
That's about it. I mean, not to make light of any of that, but I mean the fact that they, Brandon Marsh cut his toe.
Great.
He'll be fine. He should be on the workout. He should be on the field.
How did he cut his toe? Do we
all
know?
That we were told was that it was on the field.
Okay. Sure. When are we going to find out anything about who might be pitching in this weekend's games? When are they going to set that Friday, or when do we expect?
No, we'll probably find out before Friday, but who the hell knows?
Okay.
I mean, I would not expect any of the big guys, obviously, out the gate.
Sure.
And complicating this is that the Grapefruit League scheduling gods have given them a true gift, which is that they have to take a trip across the state for the third and fourth games of the Grapefruit League schedule.
Ooh, including a
I'm being sarcastic.
Game?
Yeah, because nobody wants this. And they will not send very many players whose names you'll recognize to the other side of the state for this 2-game trip. So the pitching is going to be, I don't think you're going to start seeing like quote unquote real guys until middle of next week.
Okay. Good to know. All right. I don't think there's anything else left for us to cover. Is there, Matt, anything else you want to get out before we break huddle ahead of this weekend's games, the lid lifters as they were?
No, I appreciate everyone who's sent messages, who's like made me totally uncomfortable, especially people in the backfields who are saying hello. Thank you for saying hi. Please stop embarrassing me.
Please continue to do it. All right. That's great. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, everybody, for listening and checking in. Hey, real quick plug, by the way, because a really cool thing happened tonight in the Discord server, the Phillies Therapy Discord server, which you can get access to through patreon.com/Phillies Therapy. A bunch of folks decided a few weeks ago to form a book club where they would read baseball books. That's pretty self-explanatory, right? That's cool. They went a step further. And tonight, when they met to talk about the book, the first book that they had picked, they got the author of that book, Dennis Snelling, to come on and talk about the Whiz Kids, his book on the 1950 Phillies. This is the kind of stuff you can be a part of. Ladies, gentlemen, fanatics of all ages.
That's pretty cool.
It's fantastic. And they did this completely like on their own. This was like an offshoot thing. And they just went out and did it. So kudos to all of them for doing something tremendous and amazing. This community rocks. And I would love for all of you out there, if you want to be part of something like that, if that sounds cool to you, come on in. Patreon.com/Phillies Therapy. We'll be doing this all season long. So thank you, everybody, for listening. This is most likely our last episode before games kick off. We will check in with all of you again next week.
God help us if we have to tape another episode this week.
Boy, I could
it
not
can only mean
imagine.
Something crazy has
I
happened.
could not imagine what would cause us to record again. But hey, maybe Bryce Harper gets traded. I don't know.
I'm going through the Discord right now, and apparently Bryce is going on Bussin' with the Boys tomorrow. So maybe that's why we'll end up having to tape another episode.
Great. Okay. Sure. Anyway. I can't wait for that part to be just play the games. All right, that's it. Episode's over. Thank you for listening. This has been Phillies Therapy, part of the Believe Podcast Network. For Matt, I am Paul. Spring training games start this weekend. We'll talk to you again soon.
The new LinkedIn Hiring Pro can't clone you, but it can streamline your hiring workflow. From posting jobs to shortlisting candidates to interviewing, LinkedIn Hiring Pro is the hiring partner you need, so you can focus on connecting with the right talent. In fact, small businesses report saving over 6 hours per week. So hire right the first time with LinkedIn Hiring Pro. Post your first job today and get $100 off at linkedin.com/Pandora offer. Terms and conditions apply.
At Leidos, we make things smarter and more efficient. From saving the DoD over $645 million on digital modernization to already being done with this ad. Leidos, making smart smarter.
Introducing new Sylvania LED Ultra Fog and Power Sport lights. This powerful upgrade delivers cool white clarity and crisp visibility on the road ahead, so you can reignite the love for your car with lights that make it feel like day one. And built with a compact design for a DIY install, these fog lights are backed by over 100 years of lighting expertise to bring you LED Ultra Night Vision and help you see better at night. It's time to fall for your car all over again. Sylvania, light that lasts.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.